This is the Ramana Maharshi satsang, a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself and be always free and at peace. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. I just love this teaching and want to share it. I'm commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. This week is from Talk 155 on Samadhi. The same man asked again about the nature of Samadhi and the means to get Samadhi. Maharshi, when the one who asks the nature of Samadhi and the method of getting into it vanishes, Samadhi will result. Major Chadwick. It is said that one look of a Mahatma is enough, that idols, pilgrimages, etc. are not so effective. I've been here for 3 months, but I do not know how I have benefited by the look of Maharshi. Maharshi, the look has a purifying effect. Purification cannot be visualized. Just as a piece of coal takes a long time to be ignited, a piece of charcoal takes a short time, and a mass of gunpowder is instantaneously ignited. So it is with grades of men coming in contact with Mahatma. Mr. Cohen, I get into meditation and reach a point which may be called peace and a contemplative mood. What should be the next step? Maharshi, peace is self-realization. Peace need not be disturbed. One should aim at peace only. The questioner, but I do not have the satisfaction. Maharshi, because your peace is temporary. If made permanent, it's called realization. So in this dialogue, Ramana Maharshi is asked about the nature of Samadhi and how to attain it. Samadhi is where the meditator merges with the object of meditation, experiencing oneness. Ramana's response is when the one who asks the nature of the Samadhi and the method of getting into it vanishes, Samadhi will result. So Maharshi emphasizes ego dissolution. In Advaita Vedanta, the ego or individual self is seen as the primary obstacle to realizing your true nature, which is the non-dual, eternal, and unchanging self, the Atman. To experience Samadhi, you must transcend the limitations of the ego. Ramana's response suggests that Samadhi is not something to be attained through a method or technique. It's not an object of desire or pursuit. Instead, it's a state of being in which the boundaries between the meditator and the object of meditation disappear. It is a profound realization of your true nature. Because Samadhi is not an object, desire for it leads you away from it. Ramana wants you to inquire into the one who desires. Ramana's phrase, the one who asks, signifies the ego, the individual self that's seeking knowledge or experiences. Ramana is saying that as long as this ego, with its questions and desires, remains active, samadhi cannot be found. It is the ego that creates the sense of separation, and samadhi is the dissolution of this separateness. Ramana's teaching is direct and experiential. He points to the immediacy of samadhi, saying that it is not a distant or future goal. It is here and now, but obscured by the ego. When the ego vanishes, samadhi is already here. Maharshi encourages self-inquiry and a shift in perspective from seeking external methods or experiences to turning inward and recognizing the true nature of yourself. You are invited to examine the one who asks and inquire deeply into your own identity to realize the unchanging and eternal nature of the self. This realization is samadhi. It's a call to go beyond conceptual understanding and directly experience the truth of your being. Ramana's response is deep and insightful. He suggests that the very act of asking about samadhi and the means to attain it is rooted in the ego or individual self. Samadhi, however, is where the individual self dissolves and the meditator no longer has any sense of separation. So, as long as the one who is inquiring exists, true samadhi cannot be experienced. Can you give up the one who is asking for more? So, inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. Now we have a video from Nome, Eternal.
Always you are. Never are you not. You never were not. You never will cease to be. The purpose of the Vedas is to reveal the eternal. The very term Sanatana Dharma means not only the ancient teaching, but the eternal truth. Sri Bhagavan said that what we seek is eternal, and that what is not eternal is not worth seeking. If it is eternal, then it is ever existent. The knowledge of the eternal reality with finality is Vedanta. What we seek is eternal. What is not eternal is not worth seeking. In the eternal, one finds reality. In the eternal, one finds immortal bliss, lasting peace. In the eternal, as the eternal, your true identity is found. You always exist, and you never do not exist. What is this existence? Sri Bhagavan said that he realized that which is deathless. What is endless is obviously also beginningless. And being ever existent is never interrupted. What is this pauseless, beginningless, endless existence that you truly are? It cannot be grasped objectively, for all that is perceived or conceived perishes, and indeed is utterly unreal. The imperceptible, the unconceived, timelessly is. The reality is grasped or realized with non-objective knowledge. In practice, this non-objective knowledge is self-inquiry. In its actual nature, it is the innate self-luminous consciousness, which is to say, one's very being. Certainly, this real self, which is eternal, cannot be defined by the body, is not confined to the body. And similarly, there are no bodily characteristics of the realization of the self. It is not momentary, as thoughts are. What is eternal is real. What is momentary is actually unreal. Discriminate within yourself as to what is momentary, be it a long moment or a short moment, and what is eternal. Between the unreal, which actually does not exist, and the real, which alone exists and which is self-existent. In realizing your true existence, which is eternal, and for which there is not an individual realizer, the perfect fullness of absolute being, Brahman, is found and lasts forever. Discriminate inquiring between a notion of I, a momentary assumption, and the perpetual existence, which alone is truly the self. The unreal momentarily imagines the illusory. The reality ever is just as it is. The past, the present, the future, none of such applies to your real existence. And true knowledge is just being, just as being is. Look to yourself. What is not eternal is not worth seeking. You exist, and you exist always. Know who this is. It is the eternal. It is the infinite. It is one without anything else whatsoever.
And now we're going to take some time to inquire ourselves. Notice that you exist, and you know that you exist. Inquire, investigate within yourself. Who is seeking samadhi? Who is inquiring? What does it mean for the ego to vanish? What's this experience? When the ego vanishes, so do all its tendencies. What would it take to move beyond temporary experiences of peace into self realization? Am I willing to let go of seeking? Inquire, who am I? What is the nature of my existence? And let's close with our chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. All right. Now, I love it that Ramana uses these basic questions to really open up exploration into the identity of the one who's asking the questions. You know, I wouldn't think to answer a question like that. I always try to answer the question. And Ramana, the question is over here, and Ramana's answer is over there, and is a better answer, I think, than anyone that actually responds to the question.
Yeah, I think all of Ramana's answers are amazing, and they always point you to within.
Yes, yes.
And just like that little self-attention that we just had right now. It's like being in the shade on a hot day, you know, and turning in and seeing that really there is no ego. You know, the shade is that source, and it's such a treasured time to be here with you, Richard, and Evelyn and Carol. It's so lovely.
Well, I feel like we're all blessed.
Indeed. Yeah.
So one of the questions you asked in the meditation is what would be necessary to remain in peace. And as Richard was saying, you know, you're sitting in the shade of a hot sun, you're in peace. And then suddenly this little bubble of thought comes up. And we attach to it, and then it links to the next and the next and the next, and then we're down the road. So I think the answer is that we don't touch those thoughts, but that's quite a challenge.
Well, the thoughts are tendencies, and you know, Ramana says clearly it is the tendencies that are stand between you and self-realization, that stand between you and the peace that you want.
That you are. And also Ramana says it doesn't matter how many thoughts arise, you know, just persevere.
Right.
Yeah.
Self-attention. The thoughts are what he called Visaya Vasanas, and persevering in self-attention is the Sat Vasana. Just to persevere.
And again, Nome says the tendencies are from misidentification, and connected to that misidentification is some desire for some external thing or activity or feeling that you think is going to make you happy.
Yeah. Brought to you
where is it next? You know, that's why I close my talk with basically, are you willing to give up wanting more or something else? You know, having enough means I probably don't need any more. Imagine that. There's
giving up everything.
yes.
Like Ramana says, with the rising of the ego, everything appears.
Yeah.
The ending of the ego, everything disappears, and just to have enough love to give up the ego. You know, it's like there's some poetry from Rumi that talks about die before you die.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. There's one tendency that I have, which is to enjoy imbibing in Ramana's tendencies or his teachings. Do I have to give up that tendency?
That's the sat vasana. That'll take you all the way.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a good one. Thank you, Richard. Okay, well, have good inquiry, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, so lovely being with you all.
Yes, indeed.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now